Welcome to another episode of Pooches at Play. This week we are in the beautiful Yarra Valley.
We're at the Lilydale Pine Hill Caravan Park and I am loving it. Is so pet friendly.
I think Darcy's loving it more than you are.
Oh, he is. He's got plenty of buddies here and he is loving it, so I hope you love the show too.
Yeah, let's go and explore the park. I thought I saw a cat before.
There is. Darcy's not sure about that.
This week's breed in focus is the Dachshund, bred in Germany hundreds of years ago to hunt badgers and affectionately known as the Dachsie, wiener dog, hot dog or sausage dog. This breed of short stature leaves a lasting impression. Yes, you do.
That's right. The Dachshund, proudly represented by Daphne here, is a brave, a lively and a loyal companion. They are devoted to their family, but they may not be ideal breed to have around small children sometimes. They can be a little unpredictable with strangers and other animals, so early socialisation is really important. And despite their size, they tend to be quite protective and alert, so they can make for an excellent watchdog.
The Dachshund's two official sizes are standard and miniature, but there's also a toy version. They can be short, long or wire-haired with colours ranging from cream all the way to black, with many varieties in between, and have a life expectancy of around 14 to 16 years.
They require firm but fair, consistent handling. Many Dachshunds are known for their tendency to bark though, so obedience training and keeping them mentally and physically active can really help here. Given their hunting background, Dachshunds have a high prey drive, so they may not be a good match for households that have smaller furry pets or rodents.
Dachshunds are best suited to living indoors with their family and can be happy with a small yard. Now, despite their little legs, they are active dogs with lots of stamina, so require daily walks and gentle play sessions. But with these long backs, it's important not to do anything too rigorous. Even a household with too many stairs can put added pressure on their spine.
When it comes to the Dachshund and their health, as Morgan mentioned, it is vital that you take really good care of their long backs. Dachshunds can develop intervertebral disc disease, IVDD, which in many cases requires emergency surgery and it can cost thousands of dollars. So the best thing you can do for your Dachshund is to prevent this. So firstly, supporting their back when handling them at all times. Pick them up in the middle and really support that. Keep their weight down to an ideal weight. Discourage them from jumping up and down the furniture by providing ramps for getting up and down instead. So to get a quote from Bow Wow Meow Pet Insurance specific to the Dachshund or to cover your own dog from illness and injury, visit their website.
And if you'd like to find out more about the Dachshund and if it's compatible with your lifestyle, check out the Bow Wow Meow Breed Selector tool on the website as well.
That's right.
Well done, Daphne.
What have you been looking at? When I began my studies into pet food nutrition as part of my new book, I just did not realise how much sugar is in our pets' diet. Now, Narelle, as a naturopath and a nutritionist, you must see this in both human and dog's diets a lot.
Oh, unfortunately, I do. And while we might look out for those extra sugars listed in our foods and try and avoid them, many people don't think about the amount of carbohydrates in their dog's diet and how that converts to sugar in the body. And technically, dogs have no requirement for carbohydrates in the same way that they need protein and fats to survive, which is likely why we see such low levels in the ancestral diet. But in an average commercial kibble product, we're seeing anywhere from 30 up to 60% carbohydrate content. And while I'm not anti-carbs, what's really important is for people to understand there is a huge difference in the types of carbohydrates that our dogs are eating and how this influences blood sugar levels.
And so I guess we have the good, the bad and the ugly when it comes to carbs, and that's what we need to be really looking out for.
That's right.
What's the good?
So the good, we want to think of things like fibre. So fibre and our non-starchy carbohydrates. So we're looking for fruits and above ground vegetables, which provide an amazing array of phytonutrients and fibre. So fibre is particularly important for our dog's gut and bowel health. So we tend to see those non-starchy carbohydrates in the fresh raw foods.
Yes.
Just because of the amazing benefits to digestion, to immune health and just overall well-being.
Okay, and then we have the bad.
Yes, so we also find starch in some of our common root vegetables that are added to commercial pet food, so things like potato and cassava, which people might know as tapioca. It's also in our legumes, such as our lentils, peas and beans.
All right, so just because it says it's grain-free doesn't mean it doesn't have carbs.
That's right, and unfortunately, some of the grain-free products actually have higher levels of carbohydrates than the average.
Because they're using them instead. And then we have the ugly.
Yes, so the other source of starchy carbohydrates is cereal grains. So things like wheat, rice, barley, soy and corn. Because dogs are consuming such excessive amounts of carbohydrates or sugar now in their diets, we're seeing significant increases in rates of obesity in dogs and those conditions that occur as a result of obesity. So things like type 2 diabetes and heart disease, for example. Excessive sugar consumption can also increase the incidence of cancer and contribute to allergies and yeast infections. So for any owners who have dogs that are struggling with yeasty ears and skin conditions, it's absolutely essential that they consider how much sugar is actually in their dog's diet. And the best way for them to do that is to look at the guaranteed analysis table on the back of their pet food packet.
Okay, now it is not easy to work out the guaranteed analysis, but it is really important because it will allow you to determine the level of carbs in your dog's diet and how it differs across different diet types. So to help, visit the Big Dog Pet Foods website and check out how to read a guaranteed analysis on there.
Yes.
Thanks, Narelle.
Thank you.
If you're after an awesome caravan and camping spot just a short drive from Melbourne CBD, then look no further than Lilydale in the Yarra Valley. Lilydale Lake is an oasis in the middle of suburbia. It's the perfect spot, ideal for a walk where you spend your time taking in all the water birds that call the lake home. I've even heard rumours that there's platypus in the area. The caravan and camping lifestyle is one of discovery, and there's so much to discover just a short trip from the city. How good is this place? It's kind of got everything. There's play equipment for the kids, there's loads of walking tracks, there's barbecue areas, there's fishing jetties, there's even a beach. There's not a lot you can't do. You can go for a bike ride, walk the dog. Perfect place for a family day out. I still haven't seen any platypus though, but I'll keep looking. If you're going to visit Lilydale in the Yarra Valley, then the Lilydale Pine Hill Caravan Park is the best place to base yourself. It's got great sites, fantastic facilities, and best of all, it's right smack bang in the middle of all the things you want to see and do. Make sure you phone ahead to let them know you're coming with your pooch, and I'd book in advance because this place is popular. For those of you looking for a more active way to see the area, or you just want to take your pooch on a really nice walk, then the Lilydale to Warburton Rail Trail is for you. It's 40 kilometres long and it follows the historic railway line through the Yarra Valley. Now, you can break it up into sections and do it over a few days, or get someone to meet you at the other end and do it all in one go. It's really up to you. You really don't have to go far to make some memories in Victoria. It really is a place where you can choose your own adventure. I've walked a few kilometres this morning and it has been beautiful, but let's be honest, the main reason I've done it is so I can go to the Carriage Cafe and eat something delicious and have a coffee. How good is this place? It's people and pet friendly. There's even a spot over there where you can tie up your horse. Now, the old carriage behind me is over 100 years old and it's perfectly in keeping when you're heading out on the rail trail. But for me, I'm going to have a cup of tea and something to eat. Whether it's a day trip, short break or weekend getaway, it's time to get out and discover this great state's little gems, like the Yarra Valley and so many other towns across Victoria. What a perfect way to end a great walk. Delicious. In 2020, you can get your fix by checking out the virtual show that the Caravanning Industry Victoria is running. It's going to be awesome.
Getting your pet to swallow a pill can be a huge debacle, even with a normally sedate cat or dog. But I have a few tips to help make your pilling experience smoother. Hide pills in your pet's food or treats, or even bits of xylitol-free peanut butter. However, there are some suspicious cats and dogs that will catch on to this, simply eating the food and spitting out the pill. In this instance, you could try the 3-treat technique. In quick succession, offer 3 pet treats in a row, with a pill hidden in the middle treat. The first fools them and the last hides the taste. A good trick can be to give the treats when your pet is otherwise distracted, such as while taking your dog for a walk. And another one is to crush them up and mix with a small amount of wet feed. Just make sure they finish it all. For bitter tasting medicines, try a more pungent food. Direct pill dispensing involves opening the cat or dog's mouth by hand, popping the pill down the hatch, and then holding the mouth closed until hopefully the pill has been swallowed. If they've swallowed, they'll usually lick their lips. This particular method might not work very well for a feisty or fearful pet. For scratchy cats and small dogs, try swaddling the pet in a towel to keep paws out of the way. And if all else fails, talk to your vet. Act naturally, because cats and dogs are very good at reading their humans' body language and can become tense if you start acting oddly. So stay relaxed and use a soothing but firm tone of voice. Pets tend to get used to receiving pills over time, so So don't give up and remember lots of positive reinforcement. Treats are always a good way to say thanks or well done, as long as we're treating responsibly. And there's definitely nothing wrong with a little bit of bribery if it helps the medicine go down.
It's not uncommon to see adult dogs reacting to things like skateboards, wheels, bikes, even vacuums and all sorts of other things. And this is usually as a result of a lack of early socialisation in a positive way when they were a puppy. That's why it's so important that we introduce our dogs as early as possible to those everyday items that they might react to as an older dog, and that we do it in a calm and positive way so that they have a good association with it and we don't end up with a trembling mess or a lunging, barking dog on our hands. Using the vacuum as an example, start with it turned off and allow your dog to sniff around it, rewarding calm behaviour. Once you're confident that they're not going to react to it, you can move to the next step. However, if your dog does bark at it or it tries to attack it, what you need to do then is you need to go back and create a bit more distance. Clearly Sash here is doing absolutely fine, so that they're not reacting, and again rewarding calm behaviour, then try and bring them closer. Now it's important that you know what motivates your dog. Clearly Sash is into our treats here, so this works really well, but sometimes it might be a ball or it might just be simple praise that your dog really wants. So you use what it is they're motivated by, yes, good girl, to create that positive association. Now see how Sash isn't reacting? I'm really confident that I can take it to the next step. So to do that, and I just do it really carefully, if your dog is a little bit reactive, then you would start at a distance. So we might just start back here a little bit, and then just very slowly, yes, good girl, good girl. We start moving it around. Good girl. Again, no reaction, which is exactly what we want. What a good girl you are, Sasha. So our next step, I might just pull her back a little bit and distract her a little bit, is to turn it on. What a good girl you are, Sash. Such a good girl, not reacting. If she was to react or she was to start attacking it, I would simply turn it off and we go back a step. If your dog is still comfortable and not reacting, you can then slowly move to the next stage where you have the vacuum both turned on and moving. You may need someone to help you here, so you can put more distance between your dog and the moving vacuum first to help prevent them from reacting. See how we're creating a really good association? See how she's not reacting, so I can keep taking it slowly to the next stage? What a good girl, but never pushing them too far. We can actually do this with older dogs as well that might have some issues with it. Again though, the importance is that you just start them far away, start it slowly and slowly increase the distraction or the movement, and then slowly decrease the distance as their calm behaviour starts to become more predominant. Thank you, Sash, you've done amazing. Visit poochesatplay.com for details. Would you like to win a Possum prize pack valued at over $2,500 for you and your pooch? One lucky winner will win this amazing prize, including a year's supply of VitaPet treats, Big Dog pet foods, NextGuard Spectra monthly chews, and DGG grooming products and tools, as well as a $250 Petstock gift card, Lexi and Me memory foam bed, and a brand new DGG wardrobe. Two runners-up will also receive a $500 VitaPets treat pack each. Simply tell us in 50 words or less how your furry friend shows their love for you. Visit the Pooches at Play website to enter. More than 80% of dogs and 70% of cats develop gum disease by the age of 3, the #1 cause of poor dental health and more common than any other disease. Also known as periodontitis, this disease can have wider health implications for your dog. A daily oral care routine that can include brushing plays a vital role in their overall health and well-being. Dogs instinctively hide signs of gum disease, and often by the time the signs are visible, the damage has already been done, and our pets have been suffering pain for some time. So the best way to keep your dog's teeth clean is with daily brushing to help remove the bacteria and food particles that form plaque, and regular dental checks and professional cleans by your vet. The Fresh Breath range by TropiClean can assist in providing a dental care solution for your pet that promotes a healthy mouth and fresh breath in between vet cleans. It isn't always easy to get your dog to let you clean their teeth though, and if your dog is like Darcy here, small mouths can be particularly hard to work with. So the TropiClean range includes brushing and a complete no brushing solution for large and small dogs. You will find the TropiClean range in your local Petstock store, so have a chat to a staff member to find the right solution for you and your pet, or visit the TropiClean website. Become a Petstock Rewards member and earn rewards on thousands of products and services store-wide. Receive great upfront benefits and look out for exclusive member opportunities. Terms and conditions apply. Visit the website for details.
Leptospirosis is a relatively rare disease, usually found in northeast New South Wales and Queensland. However, recent outbreaks in Sydney that have claimed the lives of a number of dogs have experts concerned. Christine, what do people need to be aware of when it comes to this for dogs?
Yeah, so leptospirosis is a bacterial disease and that's transmitted through mainly rats and other rodents and transmitted through the urine of these animals. So dogs at risk are dogs that are first of all rattish, so that will catch rats and maybe eat these rats, or dogs that are in contact with rat urine. Rat urine can actually survive for quite a long time in moist environments. So that's why we usually see leptospirosis after periods of heavy rainfall. So it will then just be in puddles, for example, or in little ponds or lakes where these dogs maybe are drinking from or swimming in. And most importantly, leptospirosis is also a zoonotic disease, which means that humans can also get infected.
Right. Is it serious?
It can be quite serious, and sadly in the Sydney cases that we have seen so far, the mortality rate was 100%. So all of the dogs died or needed to be euthanized because of very severe complications. And that's quite a huge difference to all the other cases that we are seeing worldwide.
Right, okay. And how common is it?
From May 2019, we had a lot of cases. Talking about a lot, it's been 8 cases, but we had 1 case every month during the year. Wow. And that's quite rare. So there's a huge concern that this disease is actually, first of all, making a comeback, and we don't really know why. And second of all, it's quite fatal for all of the dogs infected.
Since recording this interview, 4 more cases have been reported in Sydney and another in Melbourne, highlighting the ongoing need for dogs to be vaccinated against this deadly disease. Fortunately, one of the dogs did survive.
So initially they might just be a little bit lethargic, stop eating, develop vomiting, diarrhea or fever. Then ultimately they can become really, really sick. So it's very important that the disease is recognized very early on though.
How is it passed on to humans?
To humans it can be passed in the same way as to dogs. So again, rat urine or urine from infected pets can actually be a source of infection. Leptospirosis can penetrate intact mucous membranes and also like little skin wounds as well. So that's why it's very important if there's any concern that a pet might actually be infected with leptospirosis to not touch mucous membranes, like wash their hands after handling the pet. Be careful if you have any little wounds or anything like that.
Symptoms in humans can range from mild flu-like symptoms to kidney and liver failure, making prevention all the more important.
If you know that your dog is maybe a ratter, try to prevent that from happening. And similarly, avoid going to parks that might be at risk. Don't let the dog drink out of puddles as much as possible in these parks. And then there's a vaccine available as well. So I would just, if you are concerned at all, talk to your vet and they can discuss the pros and cons of vaccination with you.
If you're living in an area that might be putting your dog at risk, have a chat with your vet. Thanks, Christine.
My pleasure, Morgan.
That's good. I'll make sure I don't drink out of any puddles.
The critically endangered mountain pygmy possum is Australia's only hibernating marsupial, spending up to 7 months in hibernation a year. Sadly, less than 2,000 of these tiny possums are left in the wild, and they desperately need our help. Marissa, tell me about these little guys.
Oh, the mountain pygmy possum is one of the most amazing species. Every year they hibernate for 5 to 7 months underneath the snow.
Wow.
And the amazing thing is during that time they lose half their body weight. And then they rely on their main food source, the bogong moth, to increase their weight, to raise their babies. They can have up to 4 babies. And they actually more than double their weight, up to often over 80 grams, to get ready for their next hibernation. They're found in 3 populations in places like New South Wales at Mount Kosciuszko, at Mount Buller and then in the Bogong High Plains. And unfortunately, before people even knew that there were pygmy possums there was habitat destruction, there's the issue with introduced predators like cats and foxes,
Yes.
and then there's the increasing issue with climate change. So we work to protect these beautiful possums and recover them and increase their numbers for the future.
And so what can people do at home, I guess, if they're wanting to help? Because there are some things that we can do as individuals.
That's right. There's a lot happening with the bogong moths at the moment that people can do in their own lives to help. So the bogong moth is the mountain pygmy possum's main food source in spring, and usually about 4 billion bogong moths arrive up in the alpine zone every spring and summer. And unfortunately in 2017 and 2018, the moths that usually arrive mostly failed to arrive. They were almost undetectable.
Wow.
And so that left the pygmy possums very hungry.
Yeah.
And sadly, across all of the monitored Victorian populations, more than 50% of females lost their babies. At Zoos Victoria, we've had a number of campaigns that people in their own lives can help with, including the Lights Off for the Bogong Moth campaign, so that the moths can continue their migration
They don't
without
get
being
distracted.
trapped. That's right, they don't get distracted by those big light traps.
Yep.
We have our wonderful citizen science moth tracker. So if you see something you think is a bogong moth, you can take a photograph, upload the photo, we'll identify it for you and add it to our map so that
Okay.
we can track that migration.
Okay.
And there is the amazing revegetation work we're doing with pet stock. So across all Victorian pet stock locations, as well as our 3 locations at Zoos Victoria, we've been selling mountain pygmy possum tote bags. And for every bag we sell, we're going to be planting an alpine tree or shrub with our partners, which increases the habitat for the possums as well as the available food.
Oh, great. So there is a bit we can do. We can turn our lights off.
That's
We
right.
can take photos of the moths and join the tracking group. And we can also buy a wildlife tote at the zoo or at the pet stock stores as well. If you'd like to find out more about this program and how Pet Stock Assist is helping and how you can help too, visit the Pet Stock Assist website. Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you so much.
Right, it's a good boy. Well, that's the end of the show. Unfortunately, I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, and I cannot believe Darcy actually ran into one of his Insta Buddy mates, Riot.
Dogs have Insta friends. Who knew? I didn't.
They do. If you want to know anything more about what you've seen on today's show or just some training and health tips in general, visit the Pooches at Play website.
See you next week, guys. Right.
You going to go over and play with your buddy?
I've got a treat.